Holla holla, it's your boy George Billionaire. Compliments of the new year 2025. And we're back in studio on Hustle Hard. And this year, if we're going to have a different year, we're going to have to be willing to do some different things. And this day that we're going to be on radio on Hustle Hard, we're going to be talking about if you don't change, nothing. And absolutely nothing will change. If you keep doing the same things over and over again, you're going to get the same results. So this year, as we begin, last year, I remember our first show, we were talking about start with God. Put God first, write goals, do this, that, and the other. But this year, if you don't change, we're going to get to the exact same time next year. And the only thing that's changed are the number of gray hairs on your head. So today, let's hustle hard. Let's get our pens, papers, books out. I love what's called a journal. I know you're watching me, you're listening to me wherever you're at. But some things that you get caught up in your spirit, write them down and begin to look at it, meditate on it, and deliberately take action towards becoming a better version of yourself. And this is why we're here every single Monday, every single day, to keep you going, to provoke, inspire, and equip you. It's your boy George Billionaire. This is going to be an amazing year. Nothing changes until you do. Let's go. Right, what's up? First episode of Capital Talk, Hustle Hard, your boy, and it's going to be an amazing year. So this year, let's do things a little bit different. Let's be more energetic, more focused. And let's do this year like what we've never done before. Let's read more books. Let's focus. Let's disassociate. But anyway, for now, let's do it.
Billionaire, how you doing?
Holla holla.
Yeah, wrong mic. Try again.
Holla holla.
There he is.
It's your boy,
That's how it's supposed to sound.
George Billionaire, on Capi Talk, Harare's Heartbeat, 100.4 FM, the place to be every single Monday.
Yes, sir.
And it's good to be
every
back.
other day.
It's good to be back in the studio. It's good to be back with the Pulses.
Ooh.
Our first show for 2025.
Yes, it
And
is your first show.
What a better way to start off the show with the topic we're going to be discussing today.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it was great. Festive season was amazing.
I was about to ask, how did it go?
It was absolutely amazing. I had some very good catch-ups with family that I hadn't seen in a long time.
Nice.
They were in Australia. We went to Chitungwiza. I had a great family meet up. There were a good 40 of us. You know,
Yeah.
we had some Christmas games. We really interacted like back in the day, old school style. And I mean, that was amazing. And this Christmas, compared to others, was totally different.
No.
It reminded me of back in the days where families would come together.
That actually does make me nostalgic. That sounds so familiar with everybody before all the divisions began.
True that. I mean, there are always family divisions, but Christmas will always bring some unity. People would make up, people would get to sit down, and it's such an amazing time to meet up. So that was my Christmas, spending some quality time with family from all over in one place. That was great. So Christmas was good, and of course for us, we were busy. Pro Ed did not close this Christmas season.
How could they close? Did you feel that heat?
It was unbearably
hot.
So it was good for us. It was a bit busier than usual. Some of our guys only are going on holiday now, some of them, because it was crazy busy. I mean, the weather has not been behaving, but people know who to call when they want to make the weather behave.
To make it cool down.
That's right. So other than that, amazing. But on to 2025, and this is going to be a great year.
New year, new me.
That's right. It's going to be a great year for those who are deliberately going to choose to say, you know what, this year I'm gonna do things differently. This year I'm gonna be a different me. And it begins now. And it begins by you deliberately taking, and I can hear your butt. And your butt is what everybody does at the beginning.
Exactly.
Kutanga kwegore.
Exactly.
Panema New Year's resolutions.
Exactly.
People are dreading the year starting. We are
So
faced
I really
this
do
week.
hope that
We
in
are
the
faced this week
conversation-
with a lot school fees. A lot of people new. You know, we spoke about it on our last show last year, saying that please behave yourself during December so that you don't face this disease. You don't face this disease that people know is going to happen in the second week of the month of January. So, a lot has to change. I think last year this time, there was that January disease. Every other year there's that January disease. But there's a way to curb it, and that comes with self-mastery and self-discipline. And this is what we're going to do this year. And this year is going to be different. My purpose and passion to come on this program every single Monday is to do 3 deliberate things. And if you've been listening to us over the years, my purpose is to provoke, is to inspire, and is to equip you so that you can be a better individual and you can go on this journey called life with the required resources, knowledge, and input to change your life. But if all you do on this show is just hear us, George, that was powerful. Wow, this was great. We had, so full of wisdom. Our lives are being transformed. Remember one of the quotes that says, knowledge is power. That's what people say. That's the greatest lie on this earth, because we're one very most educated country in the world, right? Right? Zimbabwe is one, it's somewhere up there.
It is.
But knowledge is not power unless it is applied. So we've gone to school, we've crammed everything, we've understood this. On Hustle Hard, we've been going on 2 years now, speaking to people every Monday. People are provoked. People have been told so many different topics. But what you're hearing, as long as you are not applying it, nothing in your life is going to change. I love the word of God where it says, my people perish because of lack of knowledge, right? They are perishing. They get the knowledge, but what they're not doing with the knowledge, which is what every human being should do, what you get with the knowledge is what you need to apply in your life for it to work. I love the example of, my dad always used to tell me the story about farmers, about a farmer who would reap a harvest and a farmer who would not. And the farmer who was given a seed, packet of 20 kgs of seed maize, and told, hi, this is the seed you need for you to succeed in life and to get a bumper harvest. The other one looked at it, and the other one planted the seeds. And after some time, he reaped some harvest. And it goes on similar to the parable of the 10 talents in the Bible.
Yes.
We've got that guy given 1, 5, 10. And if you're listening to me today, you've got something that God sent you on this planet with. After listening to this program so many times, so many ideas have come into your mind. So many things have popped up, but they've popped up and you haven't executed. Which is why you are probably at the same place you were 2 years back when we started. And today you're still living the same life. So today we're really going to be talking about things that you need to deliberately do.
Taking initiative, adapting, creating the changes that you want to see. So the topic is nothing will change until you do. And something that I hope that we get to address in the topic is how to sustain that change. Because as we had said before, everybody is on this new year, new me. I'm going to do this differently. I'm going to be doing that. By February, March, I'm pushing it even, people revert back to their old ways. So I hope that in what we talk about, we can, find a way to make those old ways the new ways, revert back to the changes that you had intended to make. So I want to know, for you personally, George, what does the phrase "nothing will change until you do" mean?
So for me, I know that many years ago, I was living a life. I had a job. I was just over broke, currently earning $300 back in 2012. And had I remained on that trajectory, I probably would be at the same place that I was 12, 13 years back. And the only thing that would have changed is the gray hairs on my head. And of course, me gaining a couple of years and nothing financially changing in my life. But what I deliberately chose to do, because of the uncomfort I had many years back, I had to choose the life that I want to live ultimately by the decisions that I make personally. Now, the phrase "nothing will change until you change" basically means that your life is a sum total result of decisions you personally make.
Mm.
In your life, you're living your life and nobody else's life. People today are faced with the greatest challenge of trying to please other people, looking cool, staying in that job place, not having another stream of income, complaining again and again. I say, blaming the government, blaming politics, waiting for elections, waiting for a new year, waiting for a salary increment, waiting. But in this life we so called live, the only thing that will change in your life is what you want to change. And every year we begin with write down your goals, go to the gym, do this, start a business. But nothing will change until you deliberately say, I want to change. And what I did 12, 13 years ago to say, you know what, I want a better life, it took a lot of sacrifice. It took saying, you know what, everybody else is going partying. Everybody else is having fun, splashing money. But the life you want, like you said at the beginning of the show, what you keep entertaining in your life will become the norm. If you're okay being broke, being just over broke, living an ordinary life, living hand to mouth, if you decide not to change currently what you are doing, I can guarantee and tell you that your predetermined course of arrival is going to be exactly in action with what you are doing. So people love all this motivational talk, but without deliberate change,
Keyword
2024 came and went. There are many people who built houses, who progressed, who opened other branches, who bought cars, who went on holiday in December, who upgraded their lives and did so many great things. But those people, similar to you, have the exact same thing called time.
We all have the same 24 hours in a day.
I love that. We all have it. And what you do with it is what determines where you end up. And I love to encourage people that all things are possible to he or she who believes. That's what the Word of God says. But to he or she who does not believe and who thinks their job alone is going to take care of them, I'm not going to go into the stats of by 2030 the percentage of jobs that would have been lost due to artificial intelligence and automation. It's a scary figure out there.
Though,
yeah. Okay, so 85 million jobs are going to be lost, right? So that's the population of Zimbabwe times 6 are going to be lost due to AI and artificial intelligence. And there are people listening to us today who think, that's not going to be me. But very soon you're going to get that realization that, okay, this thing called my job, it's just a call. It's just somebody who discovers a more efficient way of doing what you are calling your job. It's going to be automated. It's more efficient. It will send messages, it will remind, it can call clients, it can do. There's so much happening in first world countries. I've spoken about it before. They're automated outlets. They're food outlets which don't have a human being to operate.
Check yourself out.
There are restaurants where you don't need a waiter anymore. There's cars that drive themselves. There's so much human interaction is less needed in the future. So this thing you keep calling your job is soon going to be eliminated. And if you keep doing the same thing, potentially, I tell you, the future does not look bright for those who just rely on one stream of income. And this is the message that I repeatedly come and tell people, that you know what, don't be comfortable, because when time comes, you don't want to say, I never heard this message, because it's soon coming. Those who used to rely on their pensions years back are not relying on them, because back then it made sense. I'm going to have 2,000 a month to take care of me. Is that the situation now?
No, it is not.
Things have changed, right? So if we are going to be a people in 2025 as we begin the year, and we think we're going to do the exact same things over and over again, time is going, and your most productive years are going. It doesn't matter how old you are. As long as you are blessed with seeing today and you still have some energy, you can achieve anything. But then the greatest secret to getting ahead is getting started. And getting started is what you need to do this year by doing things that will change your year. I began this year with the amazing G's, my kids, by reading a book. And this year we've set a target of reading 12 books together as a family.
Okay.
So after dinner, we'll sit and we'll exchange and read self-help books to mentally equip ourselves to where we want to go. That's one of our objectives. We've got spiritual goals we want to achieve, we've got certain things. And this has to be done religiously so that we can change as an individual.
Can become a habit, yeah.
And a group. The thing with people, there's a quote that says, what you keep doing for 21 days becomes a habit. If you set your alarm to wake up at 5 a.m. and do something, on the 22nd day, your body will know to wake up and do it without being told by anybody.
Have you ever tried that though?
I do school run with my kids before the alarm rings.
Your body's already
telling you. So during this holiday, because my body is so used to school run, it took a lot of change because my body knows exactly 5:45, I'm up.
That internal clock.
Before the alarm rings, just a minute, the body will know to wake up and get ready for the day. So it does work. I've seen it. I mean, I have my ritual where I read books after the school run to avoid traffic. So I will park and use that time instead of staying in traffic and not doing anything productive. Those are habits that I do that have now become accustomed to me in my space of time and my utilization of time. And that's what people need to do this year. If you keep doing the same things over and over again, you'll keep getting the same results. But in 2025, we need to be pulsars who say, you know what? I want to see deliberate change. And, you know, one of the things I've said repeatedly, even for yourself, there's certain people who you have hung out with over the years who have not led you to where you want to go. And that's also one of the major things as you begin the year. Who are you hanging around with? What type of people are helping you to reach your goals? Or what type of people are pulling you back? It's something that we also need to look at as we begin the year. Because failure to do that is going to lead us to a place where, show me your 5 friends, and I'll show you which direction you're going. Show me what you're doing with your time, and I can tell just by looking at you what it is you're going to be and become.
I get that. It's all good and well, but like change, I am embarrassed to admit, but I'm not excited about change. Change makes me uncomfortable, it makes me nervous, it makes me anxious. So sometimes people will want to change, right? But they're stuck in that kind of thought pattern where, you know, you have to overcome the fear, you have to overcome the procrastination. You know, there's always a reason that seems good enough at the time why you should not do it now. You should do it at a later time. When that later time comes, there's something else that comes up. There's always going to be something that comes up if you give yourself a reason enough for it to come up. And things like self-doubt. So how do you overcome those things? Because it's really easier said than done. Like how do you actually get to a point of actioning the change and overcoming all those things that stand in the way of you actually starting to do things that lead you towards where you want to go?
I think for me as an individual with the organization I work for, which is ProAm, there's certain things that when I began, I deliberately did that have led me to where I am today. And most of them were uncomfortable. There were a lot of life changes I had to do. And if you're going to remain the same person this time next year, it's because you like these things which are very closely related to poverty, which are called fear, self-doubt, procrastination, making excuses. I could go on. But all these things do not lead to progress. And the more you have excuses, reasons why you're not starting, you are comfortable where you are, and comfort is a very another close relative of poverty. People don't like to do things outside the usual norm, which is why their results are still the same and there's no progress visibly seen in their lives. Now, nothing will change, and the word here, change, is something that's very difficult. You know, this year with my kids at home, we said we need to change even the order in your room. You need to change certain things so your mindset also changes. Some of you at your homes, you haven't changed your bed, your sleeping arrangement, your this. There's small things. Change your office structure. Change once something changes.
It actually makes such a big difference. Just
it does
change the way your couches are sitting. Like I don't know
you'll
what it
see
is,
a totally different
perspective
of things. But if you keep doing the same thing, there's some people who use the same route to go to work.
I know.
Every day. You know the road. But then when you go, when was this more built?
Listen,
because
that used to be me.
Yeah, it's okay.
That used to
It's
be
okay,
me
yeah.
until I discovered, but there's so much happening.
There
so
is.
I try.
But because you are closed up like a horse, you've got blinders, you're not going to be open to certain opportunities in life. And this is why I've said as we begin this year, nothing will change until you do. You have to make deliberate steps to say, you know what? I love when we started last year, I love this rule called the 18-minute rule. Do something for 18 minutes every single day of this year, and you're going to have 100 hours more than anybody else in that thing that you're doing. Okay. So if you decide to read a book, if you decide to work out, if you decide to play the piano just for 18 minutes, I play pool, right? I'm the greatest pool player I've
really?
ever. I know, because every time I get home, I play pool. So when I play against you, because of my frequency of doing something over and over again, shots you will miss, I won't miss. Why? Because deliberately I do it more than you do. So at the end of the day, you'll become a master and a pro at something you repeatedly do. But if you're not consistent with that, and this is the thing with people, human beings are not consistent. If you begin to use a little bit more percentage of the human brain, and this is one thing that baffles me, human beings were created different to any other creature on this planet. An animal was meant to be an animal. A dog is a dog, a lion is a lion, a tree is a tree. But a human being has untapped potential to being anything. If I decide today I want to get into medicine, and I begin to study that, in a couple of years I can become a doctor, a pilot, an engineer, or anything. I can change who I am. But a dog is a dog. It will not change. It's a dog. A lion is a lion. But as a human being, you've been doing the same thing. It becomes monotonous. You're a PA, you're an accountant, you're this. You were not born to be just one thing. Multi-billionaires and successful people are good at adapting. They see something they like. I know billionaires who are pilots, they fly themselves. I know billionaires who are record label, owners and this, that, and the other, because you choose to change in a thing that you are not fixed to be a one type of person. You can be anything. So this human mind, we under tap because we think, no, I'm an accountant. I'm just in marketing and sales. No, entrepreneurship, it's not for me. It's for Anna, George, and them. But I was not born an entrepreneur. I posted a video recently that nobody's born an entrepreneur. It's a deliberate change you decide to do, and the passion and the hard work ethic you decide to put in that thing that makes you become that. Nobody was born a farmer. Nobody was born a doctor, a pilot, a pastor, anything. Whatever you give more time to ultimately determines what you become. So in this year, if we're going to expect different results, nothing will change until you decide to say, you know what? This year, I'm going to set an alarm every single morning. Time to read a book. Time to work out. Time to do this. And execute. And change is difficult.
It is.
But being poor is very difficult.
It's more difficult.
Right? But if you decide to say, you know what? I'm going to read a book. This year, I'm going to deliberately get rid of, and this year, please, pauses. Get rid of those negative-minded people. This year, write this word down. OPP. Only positive people. Make it a deliberate change this year. I don't want to hang around with small-minded people who have small dreams, who are always belittling me. It begins with that. Because remember, we've said a chicken, right, hanging around with an eagle will begin to have a different belief system than an eagle hanging around with chickens. Because that ego that hangs around with chickens will forget Wait a minute, I can fly above the
You
clouds.
don't even know.
I can conquer because of your association. So failing to change your direct association is going to cause your year to end the exact same way. I'm one person who, I want to give a big shout out to my brother Ignatius Munengwa. It was his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, bro. I love you. He did a lot for me growing up. He deliberately made me change my mindset. He used to make me read books. I never used to like it. But now my brother's also on radio on the other station, and he speaks there as well, similar to what I'm doing. So that deliberate association changed me to now becoming this person that I am. He became an entrepreneur first. He taught me how to do it, and here I am today. There's deliberate people I hang around with who have forced me to level up. They force you because they have a high expectation. And that's one thing we all need to do. There's so many people who I deliberately hang out with because those people push you, they provoke you, they inspire you, they equip you to becoming different. And those are the people you need to deliberately say, Gorerino, this year, I have to change my association. I have to change some of the bad habits I was doing. Some people, when they get money, it goes out quicker than it came in. And you have to change that. Now when money comes, don't be excited. Don't go and buy that designer bag, designer shoe. Don't go and buy a new car. Focus. What do you want to do? Let's grow our assets, our stock. Let's increase, things that give us more money than just popping, going to the clubs, seeing people popping bottles. There's some things you need to change if this year is going to be different.
Yeah.
There have to be investments, and there are many fathers and mothers out there who seem very surprised by that it's school term now.
As if
right?
they didn't know.
They knew. And there's a quote that says failing to plan is planning to fail. You know that this year 2025 has come. I'm so excited about this year because I had a conversation with some of my, there's some friends. Big shout out to Scott Sakupwanya, Mr. Wickno, Dr. Philip Chiangwa, all these guys, because you know what? Conversating with them, listen to my association, conversating with them changes your mindset. Yet with you, your friends are small-minded, chicken-minded friends, no great ambition in life. And when they share their vision with you, and they tell you, you know what, I actually see you doing this, that, and the other, it does something to you to say, but wait a minute, if he did it, I also can do this. I'm so proud of, people who always talk about some of the local greats here in the country. People who have a different opinion, and that's people for you. If you're going to be somebody who's moved by people's opinions, that's you. But I look at what Scott has done with his Scotland FC club, and it's amazing. In a year, no matter what people will say, it used to be in Division 1, first season, they're now Premier League, they've gotten sponsorship left, right, and center, and things are going well. People can talk, and people will always talk. Always. People will not have anything good or positive to say. But guess what's happening? Things progressively are moving in that person's life. And in this year, let's just not entertain the opinions of people. This year, deliberately say, if people are not adding wood into my fire, I don't want to be involved with them. I don't want people who are negative. I don't want people who are just Masasa Park talkers. They talk too much, and there's nothing progressive.
That's something I would love us to talk about next week. The opinions of people, because it gets to a point where how do you decipher which opinions you should actually be taking into account and which ones are not good for you, especially in, say, the workplace, where you're kind of expected to take on, especially from superiors, to take on whatever opinions that come through official routes, but you're not good at this, or things like that. So I would like us to delve deeper into that. But how far can we go as a society when it comes to not taking what other people have to say into account, and whether or not that makes you a better individual or a selfish individual? So yeah, that's a very, very interesting one.
Yeah, so I think as we begin the year, let's take a deliberate action towards disassociating and only hanging around with the OPPs, only the positive people. People who, when you say you've got a business idea, you're looking at doing this.
Tell me more about it.
It's something that I've seen that has helped me. There are times that I didn't know how to go about things, but when you go to people who have done it and they give you an insight of how to do things, that's the type of encouragement you need when your flame kind of is getting low. As you begin this year, they will tell you, you know what, this is the perfect time for you to push, to excel. You know, so many of my mentors have told me, George, education doesn't end. I know you read books, but you need to educate. You need to go to expos. You need to now increase your streams of income. I love that. Those are people you should love hanging around. But if your people who you hang around with are only those who, when it's soccer time, you want to hang around, when it's going to the clubs, going to the parties, they want you to come along. You know, it becomes something totally off, and it's not progressive. So if you don't change that deliberate association, if you don't change your mindset, say this year I'm going to read 3 books, it's good to at least start with one. The greatest secret to getting ahead is getting started. That's the most simplest thing I can tell anybody. To those people who were told you can't start a business, so many people are doing it, I don't have capital, I can't do this, I don't have the education. My word to you is, as you begin this year, nothing will change until you change. But the greatest secret to living the life you want is for you to start. It's not for you to complain, to murmur. There are people who are anxiously waiting for 2028, for 2030 elections, for 2040. They're waiting. But whilst you're waiting, why don't you do something?
Because that waiting is idle time.
And idle time is going to lead you to poverty.
The devil's playground.
That's it. And the devil loves people who were sent by God to do mighty exploits, not doing anything with their time. He doesn't even need agents to monitor you, because he knows that this one, she doesn't see her potential. And again, like what I always say, you're going to go to a place where you're shown that video footage of what you could have become in heaven when you now have gone. And you're going to kick yourself and say, I heard this message on Capital. I heard George talking about this, but I procrastinated. I gave excuses. I gave reasons why I shouldn't do. I had self-doubt. I was full of fear. But to those who managed to not have excuses, and they broke up with fear and all those other things, those are the ones who conquered. And they didn't care about anybody else's opinions, but simply fulfilling their God-ordained mandate.
Amen. Thank you so much for that. In the wise words of I'm not sure who, if you think change is painful, imagine the pain of staying the same. Thank you so much for your time, George.
Anytime.
Always a pleasure.
My pleasure.